We first want to start by saying that our thoughts and prayers are with everyone impacted by the mosque attack in Quebec. But, you know, we're not going to tie this to anything except something really horrible that happened. And as facts come in, you know, we'll all see them and figure out what's going on.
Right.
And there's so much happening in the USA right now. This weekend, nationwide protests erupted in response to an immigration ban from 7 countries. The Trump team was quick to say it's not called a Muslim ban, but Rudy Giuliani must not have gotten that memo. Take a look.
Tell you the whole history of it. So
right.
When he first announced it, he said Muslim ban. He called me up, he said, put a commission together, show me the right way to do it legally. And what we did was we focused on, instead of religion, danger. The areas of the world that create danger for us, which is a factual basis, not a religious basis. Perfectly legal, perfectly sensible, and that's what the ban is based on.
So to be clear, he said Trump asked him about a Muslim ban.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Is that what he said?
A legal one.
He figured out a way to do it legally.
And so this, you know, was one of his campaign promises, but his team had to know there would be a strong response to this. So what did they think was going to happen?
I think the issue is that Trump himself initially referred to it as a Muslim ban, and then if you remember during the campaign, he had to walk it back and then say, no, I'm talking about areas that are hotbeds of terrorism in particular. But if you look at the language of the executive order, it's not a Muslim ban because he's talking about 7 countries. There's over 40 Muslim countries that are not on the list. And he's talking about 7 countries that were flagged by the Obama administration as problematic.
Yes, but he never banned anybody. Let's just, Obama did not ban anybody. He identified.
They were on the list.
True, they were on the list as being an issue. And for me, when I looked at it, it wasn't shocking to me that an incoming president would look and say, these 7 countries are on a list for being a potential problem. Let's figure out why. And let's put a 90-day hold until we can figure out why. Because the main issue is a lot of military generals have come out and said that it's very hard to figure out when you talk about refugees and when you talk about people who are coming into the country from hotbeds of terrorism. The process whereby we figure this out, we don't have the cooperation of those nations, and some of this misinformation is happening. So I don't blame him for saying,
let me ask
with
you about
respect
this.
to these,
Let me
but it
ask
should
you about
never be
this,
called a Muslim ban.
Because, you know, if you say, but if they're Christians coming in, they'll be able to get in quicker, and you're talking about a Muslim country, how are you not going to think that's the Muslim ban? I mean, they're not saying, listen, we're open for Jewish refugees from this Muslim country. We're not. It doesn't say we're looking for Coptic refugees from this country. It sounds like we're banning Muslims. And the other question I have is why do that when there's no proof that anyone in the last 10 years, with the exception,
1975.
Okay, well, but I'm thinking the last 10 years because people have a very short memory. So let's go 10 years back. Nobody from another country has come in here.
From any of those countries.
From those countries. No illegal immigrant has come in here and shot anything up. It has all been homegrown terrorism. And so why aren't we looking at that?
But there are 3 countries that are not on the list.
Yes.
Where they have come to this country.
Yes. But they're
Saudi
not
Arabia, they were responsible for 9/11.
Yes. But they're not on the
they're not on this list. So how do you explain that?
I can't explain it. They should. I mean, that doesn't make any logical sense.
Because he has some businesses.
Well, that could potentially be. We'll find out.
In regards to your first thing about why they mentioned Christians, and maybe Jed can clarify this, what I read about the idea of that is they would give precedent to people that are being religiously persecuted, which would be the minority religion.
But then why? But then why name it? Yes.
Yes. This is, in my view, when I look at it, it really is a Muslim ban shrouded by this national security rationale. Is what he's done, and that's illegal because you can't. The First Amendment makes it very clear that you can't show preference for one religion over another. It's the very foundation of our Constitution. And so I think what's going to happen, and Whoopi, you know, I was emailing back and forth with Whoopi this weekend. I was horrified by what I saw, but I was so proud to be a lawyer this weekend because if you saw, they were on the front lines. They were setting up shop at airports. They were typing. I was getting emails from so many of my former federal prosecutor friends, they were like, if you're licensed over here, go to this airport, Sonny, do this, do that. It was really incredible. But I think that lawyers now are going to go back to court, going to go back to federal court, and basically say this is a Muslim ban and this is why. And they're going to show Rudy Giuliani's statement. And that's like Exhibit A.
The other question that I have is, we have complained, right? They have complained on the right a lot to people sneaking into the country. So all these people who actually went the right route, green card, got all these things done. And they can't come in either.
Yeah,
so
that's a problem.
To me, this is sloppy. And as much as they want to say, you know, we did this, you know, we knew what we were doing, it does not seem like they knew what they were doing.
Well,
it's a little
there were reports on that they didn't go through the proper channels of notifying people. I agree with you. When you talk about green cards, those are people who actually followed the legal mechanism.
My husband has a green card. He can't leave the country?
There should have been protections written in. When you put out an executive order, absolutely, they should have put protections in for people who have green cards. Those are people oftentimes that are, you know, interpreters. I mean, those are people that are very, very valuable in many ways.
Because there are some interpreters and people that have pretty much, it would be a death sentence to go home because they're seen as traitors that are here.
But instead of taking the time to ensure that those people were safe, those people have been, a lot of them have been sent back.
Well, and sloppy execution of this, which might not have been thought through, can be the difference of life or death for some of these people that are being
All I know is everything that Donald Trump is doing is making the world a less safe place. That is the bottom line of this administration. Every single thing he's doing. And just on a personal note, I have been stress eating. I gained 2 pounds. From this annoying, whatever it is he's doing, the doomsday clock, more people in Canada now are going berserk. I mean, there's no place to go even.
And there's not enough food to eat.
My question was, is it not possible, if the Obama administration set these 7 countries up as targets for travel restrictions, is it not possible?
That's a different thing.
But
they identified those countries.
But here's my question.
They didn't set them up for bans.
If they identified it, if they identified those specific 7 countries, and you have a new administration coming in and saying, let's find out why this happened.
Hold on to that thought.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.